And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is the Sports Cage.
Stop yourself right there. We need way more energy than that. It is Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Try it again.
Zach, you know I'd absolutely love to, but I can't. I already got yelled at. Apparently, I'm too loud and I'm talking this out. So Zachary, we're going to just completely ignore what I said. I'll tell you what. The floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sports Cave on a special
Stanley Cup Final Game 7 edition. Oh, baby. This is what gets my dick just fully erect, Robbie. Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals, on the verge of on the verge of the greatest comeback in the history of the fucking, not even just the NHL, of the hockey world. Robbie, if the Edmonton Oilers are able to pull this off tonight, we are going to be talking about literally probably the greatest Stanley Cup final. If we're talking about comeback stories, it'd be the greatest story in hockey history if the Oilers are able to pull off this comeback here.
I completely agree. It's nearly impossible to come back down 3-0, and I mean, it's been done.
You are damn right about that.
It's just like unheard of in the Stanley
Robbie,
Cup.
It is nearly impossible to do. We're also talking about it's nearly impossible to do in the first round. We're talking about the two best teams one from the Western Conference, one from the Eastern Conference. A little adjustment here. I mean, the Florida looked like they had the fucking show. You know what, by the way, guys, sorry, I got rated. Hello, everybody. Car Lover, Bob. I think it was a Daniel Barry highlights I think I saw.
Yes, sir.
How are we all doing, guys? I got a little bit into that one there, Robbie. I didn't say hello to anybody.
You know what else you forgot?
What else we forgot?
To go through this before we start talking.
I did forget it, Rob. You gotta give me the benefit of the doubt on this one. This is as a hockey fan, this is the moment that I've been waiting for.
You've been claiming your pants since 6:30 this morning.
Yes. Before I even get into this, though, guys, we have an episode to take care of for your folks. I've already informed Robbie we will be getting this done in time for this hockey game today. I'll be heading out to watch with a few buddies, have a few beers later. We'll be getting into the Celtics winning their 18th championship and surpassing the Lakers now and have regained their spot with the most titles in NBA history. A little bit of MLB news. Some crazy fucking protesters at the Travelers Championship, and much more, Robbie. But I guess we got to start off with Game 7 tonight. Florida, Edmonton in Florida, 8 p.m.
All right, Zachary. For those that weren't really dialed into this Stanley Cup final, I'm sure it's going to be the highest viewed game in NHL history. So why don't you give, because I'm sure you've watched most of it, if not all of it. So why don't you give everyone a full recap on the preview of the series and where it's gotten to?
Okay, well, let's start off here with Game 1. Game 1, Sergei Bobrovsky stole the show. I mean, Edmonton should have won Game 1, Robbie. We can say that. They were the better team. They outshot them, outplayed them, but they got out-goaltended in probably one of the best games Bobrovsky ever played in his entire career. Florida takes Game 1. And then if you look at Game 2 and 3, pretty even Steven game. Again, Bobrovsky standing on his head, not getting the best goaltending from Stuart Skinner in those games. And again, 50-50 games in my opinion. Florida ends up getting the wins. They go up 3-0, Robbie. And we were talking about this last week going, this series is over. We both called it. We said Game 6 probably. We thought in Florida they were going to get it done. Because we have I think everyone had a feeling going back to Edmonton after winning Game 4 that they had a good chance of winning that one in Edmonton, Robbie. I mean, that Edmonton crowd is just, we are talking electric. Sorry, from winning Game 5, then going back into Game 6 to get that W. I mean, you going back to Game 6, Robbie, is almost like everyone kind of knew what was going to happen here. It's like Edmonton's not going to lose this game. They got too much riding behind it. I don't know if you saw the national anthems, but I'm fucking
Yes, I
pretty
have.
certain
Yes,
that
I
I
have.
heard them singing those national anthems literally from my house. If they're living in Edmonton, that's how loud it was. I mean, it was. It's honestly like it gives you chills when you watch it.
Oh, good looks, car lover, my boy. Hell yeah. Yeah. Nah, I
You
ain't
didn't
got
even
it.
answer his question.
I was in the process of answering the question. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. It's just can't find a hat, and your boy's extremely tired. But you know how we can get this energy going? Hit that share button and bring some of your boys in here. All right, let's bring in some new people because it's a big Game 7. We want to hear what everybody has to think about that. I mean, Zachary, for the first time, I can't tell you how long, the main topic of discussion today on First Take was hockey.
First time, I think it might be the first time ever. You have Stephen A. Smith, fucking PK Subban, and who the hell is the other guy? Why is his? Yeah, Shannon Sharp. All talking about hockey. Obviously, PK can talk hockey. He's played it before. But,
Gary Bettman. And honestly, Zach, that was one of the dumbest things I saw from Gary Bettman. He is talking about Connor. He is a star, and some people would definitely view him as a superstar. You don't say. Your best player in hockey.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you this as a big Sidney Crosby fan. If Connor McDavid wins this Stanley Cup, like coming back the way they did,
he's immortal.
That is going to basically make him an instant legend. He wakes up tomorrow morning an instant legend.
Immortal from any slander. It will not be.
And also, Robbie, I mean, this is a discussion we kind of have to have as well, too. He doesn't win this one. The conversation still stands if Mr. Connor McDavid is ever going to get the big win.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
I mean, what are the chances that him and Draisaitl will stay as a 1-2 forever?
I actually think there's a better chance of them staying together if they lose tonight than if they win. I think if they win, that gives them the holy shit, we fucking got it done. We got it done together. Robbie, if we're being realistic here, looking at the numbers, they're going to have a tough time keeping Draisaitl with all the amount of other people they're going to have to pay to keep around it. I understand Draisaitl. We're talking about a top 5 player in the league here.
Easily.
I mean, like, we're talking about an exceptional hockey player, but Edmonton has got so many guys they're going to have to go through and sign here. So, and Bob, yes, it was. Toronto was the last team to come back from a 3-0 Stanley Cup in 1947, but let's be honest here. That doesn't even fucking count. There were 6 teams. It was in 1947.
I agree.
If this happens now in 2024, this is a whole new ball game. Yeah.
No, I'll definitely be tuning into some of it, Zachary. I could tell you that I have a friend who is indeed an Oilers fan. Shout out to my good friend Francis/Frank Nero. He was definitely not feeling confident, but his girlfriend said there is a chance. I mean, it's not over yet. And I'm just like, okay, whatever you say. And here we are.
Robbie, there's a 50-50 chance now, my friend.
2024. There's a chance.
I will say this, Robbie. For those of you that didn't watch Game 2 or Game 6 rather, so Florida obviously with their third chance to win the series was in Game 6. Then they were 0-3 for it. Actually, before I get into this, Robbie, big story of this series. Florida has 1 power play goal, Robbie. They have 1 power play goal in this Stanley Cup Finals on, I believe, like 24 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Something along that line. You're never going to win a Stanley Cup shooting under 5% on the power play. On the other end of the spectrum, Edmonton Oilers, 64 for 67 on the fucking penalty kill throughout this playoffs, Robbie. Over 90, I think it's 95% or something like that, 94%. It's in the 90s. It's an incredible. Actually, I think it was their last 25, like 24 for 25. That was the 95 stat. But anyways, 64 for 67, incredible. 3 shorthanded goals. Connor Brown, ex-Leaf, has been an absolute dog on the penalty kill, Robbie. But going back to Game 6, Edmonton makes it 2-0. Florida goes down, scores a goal from Alex Barkov. And all of a sudden, you can kind of feel that momentum shifting a little bit, Robbie. It got a little bit scary. It ends up getting challenged for an offside.
Yep.
Robbie.
Talk about this right before we came on.
Yes. Watching this live on TV, I was in my buddy's basement going, there's no chance that they can call this back. There's no chance. It was it was so close. So I was listening to the Spittin' Chicklets podcast today, and they got obviously they're well connected in the sports world. They have some insider scoops. Ryan Whitney on this podcast was told by somebody that's in the video booth review room, whatever you call it, video review booth room. He said that the fucking
say it again like that.
Whatever the fuck it is. He said that they had told them like up until they got a certain picture, they were telling the ref it was a good goal. Like literally as they were relaying the message that this was a good goal, they got a still shot photograph from ESPN. That was the only picture available that proved that this was in fact an absolute sea hair offside. And if you don't know what the sea hair is, it was a cunt hair offside. I'll just say it out loud. And I tell you, Robbie, the fact of the matter of how close this could have been to an absolute crucial, game-changing fucking call. Like, imagine this came. Imagine they got the call wrong. They didn't get that picture, and they called it a good goal on ice. All the momentum swung around, and Florida ends up winning that Stanley Cup. And then that fucking picture comes out after the game that proves, holy shit, it actually was just in the closest it could possibly be to being offside.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, Robbie, Game 7 tonight, 8 o'clock. I think going into this, I said that the Panthers were going to win. From what I've seen from Sergei Bobrovsky, which also is something to note, he did not practice yesterday, which is a little bit out of character for him, but it could also just be some well-needed rest for him. But from what I've been seeing from the Oilers, from what I've been seeing from Sergei Bobrovsky, who allowed, I believe, 4 goals in the first 3 games, I'm pretty sure, and has now allowed 18 goals, or Florida as a team, has allowed 18 goals in the last 3 games. Edmonton has grabbed this series from underneath the Florida Panthers, and this series is done. The Edmonton Oilers will complete the greatest comeback in the history of NHL hockey tonight, and they will hoist the Stanley Cup, getting McDavid instant legendary status.
Zach, I love the hype up that you made up there to your pick. Listen, this is what I'm going to say. Hockey and basketball are a completely different sport when I start off with this, okay? We got caught up in the moment last year when Miami was dominating Boston, and they were just slapping them around, and we were just waiting for that win and waiting for that win and waiting for that win. And then come 6, Miami's going to win, but at the very last second, Derek White somehow made a miraculous shot that made him go to Game 7. The momentum is in Boston's favor. There's no way that the Miami Heat are going to win, and Miami destroyed them. Okay, we are now in Game 7. We are now just miles away from the 305. Miami, Dade, Florida. Zachary, I am one person that it is very hard, very, very hard to change what I predicted from the start, which was the Panthers. Okay. We go into this Game 7. Like you said, the momentum, it's all in Edmonton's favor. A lot of stars are coming out to watch this Game 7. Some that never even watched hockey play. I mean, Stephen A. best described hockey knowing it as, all I know is that the puck is black, because that's all.
I mean, the guy just has to be racing into fucking everything, for Christ's
Exactly.
sakes.
Yes, I was going to say that. And Zach,
I almost made a joke. I'm kind of glad I didn't. Keep going.
be careful. You were really off of wire last week. All right.
I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you know what? I'll keep it cool.
So, like I said, Zachary, it's very hard to change my direction of who I think is going to win the Stanley Cup. After a little bit of stuttering right there, I will give you my answer. Your 2023, 2024 Stanley Cup champions will be the Edmonton Oilers.
I mean, I think you got to be right about that one, Robbie. It's just, I think you look back at like kind of big moments in sports, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You got Michael Jordan making the jump shot against the Jazz to win.
Yep.
You got Sidney Crosby scoring the 2010 gold medal goal for Team Canada. Like, there's so many legends etch their name into history with plays like this.
Well, it's funny because ESPN just had a whole like thing I saw for like special plays, and it kind of disappeared, but it featured David Tyrese catch. Featured Dale Earnhardt just listing his overall success as a race car driver. But go on, Zachary.
And I'm just saying, I think tonight is the night where another legend has his opportunity to etch his name into the history books, Robbie. And also, I don't know why, but does this not just feel like the first ever Game 7 overtime Stanley Cup final game?
Oh.
Why am I sensing Connor McNasty, McJesus, with the overtime winner tonight for the Edmonton Oilers?
Wow.
And when it happens, you guys can call me Nostradamus, okay?
Well, Zachary, if you do predict this correctly, then the next day you need to play the lottery, all right?
I will. But, Robbie, I believe, there's really not much more to say about tonight, Robbie.
There is one thing to say. Before the clock hits midnight, one thing's for sure, Zachary. It's the end of the 2023-2024 season in the NHL. And one thing's for certain, Zachary. There will be a team playing in a different location from where they once played.
Yep. That would be, obviously we know Utah. Utah is coming in here. And, what's this asshole's name on Twitter, Robbie, that's circulating these rumors around about our boy Mitch Marner? Whatever his name is. You know what? Don't even say his name because I don't even want to give this guy.
No. We need to because we need to shame him for being the biggest compulsive liar as it's right now on the internet.
Basically, what this cuck asshole's been doing is he calls himself a reporter and he just tweets this shit out that may or may not be true. I think he doesn't even have any sort of source, but he tweets it out way earlier than it needs to be tweeted out. So in case it does happen, he can be the guy to claim that it happened first.
Mr. Rob Reinhart, his Twitter bio says, covering all things sports for the New York Herald since 2024, which is literally this year. Previously, Sports Illustrated, now in Bleacher Report, Auburn alumni. All opinions are my own.
So right there, because he
the
tweeted
point
today
where
that,
he made this post about Mitch Marner.
Yeah,
Biz went out and said, "What the hell's going on?" Essentially,
yeah, he tweeted out that Mitch Marner had been traded to Utah and that it would all come into fruition later on this week.
He only has 296 tweets, so take it for what it is.
He's not. This guy is full of shit. This guy is a guy that tweets shit out to get clicks and views on his profile. He's a fucking loser, and I can't stand guys like this because there's actually
that they said he was going to get traded to.
Yeah, Utah. Which is another thing that people have to realize. Which actually, honestly, Robbie, I don't think that's that crazy that he would go to Utah. Because you got to look at how much stress someone like Mitch Marner is on when he's playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially when he's not performing the way he should be performing. You go to Utah, dude, you are just another guy on the street. There's no pressure. You make all the money in the world. You're the guy on that team. There's really no pressure at all. You guys aren't supposed to win. So it's not like I find it that crazy that it could happen, but the fact that this guy's tweeting out that it's already a done deal, and I love it too. The guy doesn't tweet out any return or nothing like that. Like, you go fuck yourself, Rob. You fucking queer. Sorry.
On Pride Month, dude?
Yeah, whatever. It's not Pride Month to me. It's Men's Mental Health Month.
Oh, wow.
Just kidding. Zach, it is both. It is both. But, to me, it's more Men's Mental Health Month.
There. You 100% meant what you said.
I did. Fucking right, I did.
Okay, well, allow me to
reintroduce myself.
I hope that his thing will eventually become true because I've been asking for Mitch Marner to leave ever since last season, which you were saying at the beginning of the season. Well, you can't do that because he's one of the better players on the league. He gets points.
No, it's because he has a no trade clause, you fuck. I've been wanting to trade him as well, too.
Liar.
He has a no trade clause as of July 1st of last year.
You wanted him to stay because of his one spectacular season where it looked like he was going to lead the league in points.
Show me proof.
I would have to go really. Oh, shit.
Oh.
That laptop's destroyed, so I can't give you the proof.
Oh.
You're lucky.
But yeah, I do hope it's true too, Robbie. And another thing I also should point out is I saw that fucking Bob, you goddamn fucking Bob. I also should point out to Robbie that the season, I was going to just whatever.
No, say it.
The season is coming to an end, but we do have the NHL draft coming this weekend, which I kind of just remembered about 5 minutes before the show, so don't really have too much preparation. But I do know that San Jose Sharks will be getting themselves a bona fide star in Macklin Celebrini come Friday night, Robbie. That is kind of the only really big name that's jumping off the page. I do know that there actually is some decent prospects that are supposed to be coming out this year, especially the first 4 picks, I believe, are very strong.
Yeah.
Chicago is at number 2, so they're already working their way up to building another dynasty here with Bedard, and I believe it's a right-handed defenseman out of Michigan that's projected to go number 2. So just keep your eyes peeled for that, folks, Friday. Come Monday, we'll have a full recap of that. See if there's any surprises, any trades. Hey, maybe Mitch Marner's traded before the draft. You never know.
I hope so.
You never know. But Mr. Robbie, I believe that about wraps it up for our last preview of an NHL hockey game for this season.
One last time. I don't know if you're going to be excited or if you're going to be depressed. We'll find out.
It's depressing to hear, but also excited to hear at the same time.
You just made the list.
Also, wasn't really prepared. I left my beer
What?
right here.
Can't believe you didn't prepare with your alcohol. What are you, insane?
Why don't you look at the screen?
Oh, you're an alcoholic at heart. You
and
are, Zachary.
To Game 7.
Cheers, bud. Beer 1 is done. All right, Zachary, it's time to transition into our other sport, in which, unfortunately, this sport is done as well.
Pass puts up the 3. Bang!
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What did he say?
I think he meant to say Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he said, why Giannis Antetokounmpo? Well, Zachary, as we saw on Monday, I mean, it was inevitable. The Boston Celtics finished the gentleman's sweep on the Dallas Mavericks as they defeat the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5 last Monday. And Zach,
what a fucking terrible NBA Finals. My God.
Atrocious. Honestly, a terrible. The Western Conference was pretty entertaining for obvious reasons. I mean,
yeah.
No disrespect. I mean, let's get into it. Let me get into it for a sec, right? All right.
Yep.
It's a good thing Plouffe isn't here, because Plouffe would probably shit on me for what I'm about to say. Have we ever seen an easier path to the NBA Finals in NBA history? I mean, think about the absolute luck that the Celtics had. And granted, they took advantage of the opportunity, and rightfully so. But beating Miami with no Jimmy Butler, we know that Jimmy Butler is the Miami Heat. And I've seen a lot of things so far in the offseason talk about how the Miami Heat want to move on from Jimmy Butler. That would be the biggest mistake ever made. That'd be a bigger mistake than when they moved on from Dwayne Wade. Okay. That would be catastrophic to the franchise. That's number one. Number two, they face off against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were already without Jared Allen. Then Donovan Mitchell ends up getting hurt and misses 2 games, and they finish the sweep of the Cleveland Cavaliers because there's no one essentially playing. And then you go up against the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton's hamstring ass cup. And granted, the Pacers at one point could have been up 3-1, but when you don't have your best player on the court in those final seconds, and you got these no-name guys who are trying to make a name for themselves, like Aaron Nesmith, who made a name for himself, and maybe we could see him progress in the future, you sweep them. And now we get all the way to the NBA Finals. And Luka gets hurt at some point during the finals, and I don't care if he was healthy or hurt. They were well rested outside of Porzingis getting hurt, but one thing that we do know is that the Celtics played the majority of the season without Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah. And Porzingis, I mean, weird injury he got there. I'm still really not sure like what the severity is going to be of that going into next season, but I do agree with you, Robbie. I mean, it is tough to say like it's an easy path because it's obviously still facing NBA talent, but I would say that the stars just aligned for this Boston Celtics team to win it this year. I mean, I will say, well deserved. I mean, they definitely had the best team.
Agreed.
But still, it would have been nice to see them get tested. It would have been really nice to see a Boston-Denver final because I feel like Denver would have been the only team that could have given them a bit of a run for their money.
I disagree. I do think that Dallas could have gave him a better run. However, the injury sustained by Luka had to affect his defense, Zach, because we saw the first 2 games. And game 4, Luka came out playing both sides of the court well, and they destroyed the Celtics. And come game 5, he just wasn't able to play defense.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving cursed himself by stepping on the logo, which I remember watching that happen. He's cursed himself. He is now cursed in Boston.
I mean, it's never a good idea to do that, Robbie. But this does kind of pose the question with Tatum being young.
Steve's going to be part of.
What's up, Steve?
Be in this conversation here.
With Tatum being young, and Brown being young. Tatum signed for a while, right? I know Brown is.
I think Jason Tatum is actually now.
Is he looking for a contract? Okay.
Oh, yeah. But, Boston's going to give it to him.
Obviously, yeah. He'll get signed for whatever the fuck he wants. With those 2 guys, Robbie, in your backcourt, I mean, are we looking at a possible new dynasty approaching?
Yes. Yes, we
I
are.
hate to say it, but I fucking have to agree with you.
Yes, we are. I mean, they got Drew Holiday locked up for the next couple years. Porzingis, Brown,
Derek White.
I mean,
Derek White that was a big piece for them this playoffs.
That is let's be honest here. The real MVP for the Boston Celtics is Brad Stevens. How he got to trade for Porzingis and Derek White for essentially nothing, and Drew Holiday, essentially nothing, baffles me. I mean, Drew Holiday himself, when they got him, Porzingis, I can understand. Derek White, name wasn't big, but you knew the potential was there. But when they got Drew Holiday, and the Bucks decide to go with Damian Lillard over Drew Holiday, it is just baffling how much they had to give up because it was very little to none. Maybe some draft picks, but when you are a winning team and you're a winning culture, those draft picks essentially mean nothing.
Yeah. Cocksucker.
Whoa, Steve with a hot take.
Role player. Well, first of all, that's not how you spell role in that in that aspect. ROLE, Steve. Come on. Second of all, I agree with them giving Brown the MVP, but also we have to give.
If they did not do that, I would spend 10 minutes on this show destroying the NBA.
We have to give credit where credit's due, though. I mean, Robbie, the guy led every single category offensively for the Celtics. Tatum.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said, he made up with his rebounding and his playmaking.
Great finish-off game.
However, Jaylen Brown was basically the starter in terms of, I mean, obviously they're both stars. I mean, starting like the onslaught, the murdering of
the guy.
He was the guy. And not to mention, too, a lot of Tatum's stats came late in when they were already up by a million. I mean, Jaylen Brown was doing all the dirty work when the Mavs were trying to hang in with the Celtics for as long as they could. But Zachary, Jason Tatum is so cringe, and this is what I mean by how cringe this dude is. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I would discard that. I think that's just hitting.
I was going to say that one's because I've seen this video too. That was,
but the next couple ones are very
yeah
cringe.
We did it. We did it. Anything possible.
I know everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Everybody wants to know what I would do.
Okay, I'm not even going to go through the rest of Zachary, but I'll tell you what. After he did the whole Kanye thing, he dropped the mic. He dropped the mic, dude. And now he's trying to act all big and bad. Like, dude, I get you want to come at the haters, but when you
original, man.
When you come off as this humble player, right, and you just like look to be like a good leader, and then you come out with all this trash talk after winning your first championship, be careful, bro. Because ask LeBron. All right, LeBron is always going to be to me. And Tatum, maybe you can live up to the expectations, but the one thing that I'm always going to say about LeBron, look at his NBA Finals record, 4-6. Tatum, humble yourself. 4 championships are a lot, but you don't want to be known as a loser consistently in the NBA Finals.
Call my boy LeBron a loser?
Yeah, he's 4-6 in the finals. Loser.
Four sounds like he's won 4 times.
So is Steph Curry, and Steph Curry's beaten him 3 of those times.
Well, fuck you. Anyways, Boston Celtics get the job done, Robbie, and we will just have to wait till next year to see if this dynasty has been started. But
I'll tell you what, Zach. I'll ask you this:
yeah.
if we're running the rosters back from this past NBA season, and every team in the Eastern Conference that made the playoffs is healthy, who do you think would have gave the Celtics the biggest run for their money in going to the NBA Finals?
I mean,
so let's go through all the teams.
I'll say Philly. I think Philly could have given, if we're talking about a fully healthy squad with Embiid at 100%, Tyrese Maxey at 100%.
Hold the horses. Look who's here.
Oh, Isaiah.
And look at those. Look at that.
Bucks, I think as well too.
Let's go through all the injuries.
Maybe possibly the Knicks.
Shut the hell up. Shut up. I'm trying to go through.
You fucking asked me a question, you cum dumpster.
I know, but I told you to pick one. You're going through every single one, so you might as well go through every single one.
Okay,
so the Bucks lost Giannis, Dame, and Middleton in that series against Indiana. Indiana ends up losing Tyrese Halliburton. The Knicks lose Julius Randle in September. OG for a little bit, and then when he made his return to the playoffs, they lose OG. Jalen Brunson ends up breaking his hand in the 3rd or 4th quarter in the Game 7 against the Pacers. Miami Heat lose Jimmy Butler. Joel Embiid was not healthy. And I think that just about does it for in terms of health in the Eastern Conference. So we got to pick one team. Who is the one team you'd say would have gave them the best run for their money to advance to the NBA Finals?
With the moves they made at the trade deadline, I'll say the New York Knicks. If they were 100% healthy.
100% agree with you. And it's crazy because the Knicks, by the way, I'm going to just throw the subject in there as we talk about the Knicks. OG Anunoby has declined his player option. He will enter free agency. If you are the New York Knicks, that is your number one priority because you gave up RJ Barrett, you gave up Emmanuel Quickly. You give that man $40 million a year if he wants it, because this Knicks team, when OG was on the court, when all looked like the season was done, the second Julius Randle went down, OG was their savior. I believe they were 26-5 when he started. I'm not going to count the Game 7 because he only played 5 minutes and he couldn't go anymore because the hamstring wasn't there. They 100% with a healthy OG, with a healthy Julius Randle, with a healthy Mitchell Robinson, who got maliciously injured by Joel Embiid's dirty tactics. I think the Knicks probably beat the Celtics in 7.
I mean, if they don't beat them, they give them a run for their money. But
I agree.
I guess we'll never know. I guess
we won't.
Hopefully, we see it next year.
Because things could change in New York. I mean, they want Isaiah Hartenstein, who was the backup center that filled in for Mitchell Robinson, which at the beginning of the season, I looked at the difference between Hartenstein and Robinson, and I like Hartenstein a lot better. 2 reasons. 1, the name is pretty cool. And 2,
very Jewish.
I'd say more German. Hartenstein.
I just see. I always associate with Jew. Steinberg. There's nothing wrong with saying Jew. That's literally that's a very correct term. You're allowed to say that. That's what they are. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's what.
What do you mean by they?
Well, Jewish people. They're Jews.
Come on. Hold on. I'm going to hell.
You're such a fat ass, Cartman. At least I'm not a stupid Jew.
Okay, well, yeah, that right there is not the appropriate way to use that term, Robert.
Come on, we got a little South Park humor into here. But yeah, their number one priority should be OG Anunoby if you're the Knicks, and then number 2 should be Isaiah Hartenstein.
We'll have to wait and see what they do. But Robbie, we do in fact have some moves that we need to discuss. That went down
there
this
was
week
one,
in the NBA.
There was also one more that we didn't get a chance to add in because it happened while we were doing the show. But let's go through the ones that we have written down. Zachary, I'll let you start it off. TJ's favorite player?
I mean, if we're talking about someone that made some headlines this season, all for the wrong reasons, Josh Kid Crusher Giddey has been traded to the Chicago Bulls in exchange.
Can we get some Kid Crushers in the comment?
Josh, he's been traded for bald white thunder Alex Caruso. Robbie, you know a lot more about basketball than me. Can you explain to me what's going on here?
I think it makes perfect sense. The whole case probably had a big impact on Josh Giddey's decline from last season to this season. But the other thing that also led to his decline too was SGA becoming a top 5, top 10 player in basketball and needing the ball in his hand more often than last season. Chet Holmgren playing a significant part.
Car lover.
Oh,
gosh, car lover.
He's coming at your Canadian.
That's my boy. Drake's my boy, car lover. He's my Torontonian.
Okay. I mean, I asked for this, so this is perfect. Ultimately, I think Sam Presti had a vision, and I think he's right. Josh Giddey isn't someone that is valuable off the bench. You need him in your starting lineup because he is a valuable point guard. And the Thunder necessarily don't need that because they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who could drop 30 and also get a triple-double. He is what Russell Westbrook and James Harden is, except he's more at the level of James Harden than Russell Westbrook in terms of scoring. He's a very efficient scorer. And they need more defense. Now, they do have one of the Williams brothers. I forget which one it is. I don't even know if they're brothers. One of the Williams, we're just going to call them brothers. You know, they're on the same team. That plays great defense, along with Lou Dort, who plays great defense, along with Chet Holmgren. But that is not their main focus because they could score the ball on the other side. Where Caruso, you know what you're going to get out of that guy. That guy is a dog. And not to mention, too, OKC is essentially saying, you know what? Let's try to win it now. Let's get Caruso, who has something to prove in the last year of his contract. Now, why did the Bulls trade for Josh Giddey? Very simple. Lonzo Ball's coming back. I think that they felt bad for Lonzo and they kept him around so they could pay him that money, but they don't see him as a part of the future plans because this knee injury is something that doctors have never seen before.
Yeah.
And you're getting essentially another Lonzo Ball when you're bringing in Josh Giddey, who is also younger, doesn't cost as much as Lonzo Ball does, and is essentially the same player.
And you are getting someone that has
I disagree with you. Lou Dort was a very good 3-point shooter. Chet Holmgren was able to spread the floor, and you got to remember, this is Chet's first year, so he's just going to progress as he goes along.
I just think, too, Giddey has somewhat of a decently high ceiling. Maybe not high ceiling, but the potential for him to be better than Caruso is definitely there, especially with the age he's at. I think getting him out of
better than Caruso.
Yeah, but obviously, you never really know how something like this could fuck with your brain mentally, though. So I think getting him out of OKC.
Also happened too, Zach. I hate to cut you off, but
you've been doing it, so it's okay.
Well, you did it to me before, so.
Bitch.
What is one thing OKC is known for doing? Trading for these players and just getting 75 draft picks for one said player. So who knows? Maybe they flip Caruso.
Could be very possible. Could be possible. But I think it's a good idea, too, to get Giddey out of OKC. Get him a blank start somewhere new. I'm not sure what the age of consent is in Chicago, so you better watch yourself.
I think it made it worse because Chicago is way more popular than Oklahoma City.
Well, if you're in high school and you're a lady in Chicago, just keep your wits about you, okay? Moving on, Robert.
Yes. Oh, let me see my
Toronto
sent me.
Ex-Toronto Raptor, Monsieur Pascal Siakam, staying with the Pacers on an expected 4-year max contract extension at just under $200 million.
You talk about this because you know him better than I do.
Well, I think the reason why the Raptors did end up moving on from Siakam is because they didn't see that they didn't see paying him that sort of money realistic. I guess they wanted to save some money for Scottie Barnes, which we will be getting into in a little bit. But Siakam ends up getting what he wants. I mean, I think that the Pacers really didn't have much of a choice but to sign him. Kind of the same situation that the Knicks are in right now too. You give up a decent haul for somebody. You don't want it to be all for nothing. Plus, if you're looking at the Pacers, Robbie, I don't want to use the term win now because they still are the Pacers, but they got a good basketball team. I mean, a few trades here and there, maybe a few prospects that work out, and we could be looking at a win now possibility for the Pacers. So I think bringing in a guy like Siakam, obviously you know what you're going to get with him. He's not a number one guy, but they got Halliburton for that, and we've learned with Siakam.
He's clearly not. We saw it happen in Toronto. You're right
but
about
Siakam's a good number two.
Yes.
I mean, he's not a bad number two at all. He won a championship as a number two, maybe even number three on that team, but I mean,
who would you put ahead of him? Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, he's probably a number two on that team. Lowry defensively was big for us in that series. I mean, even I think Siakam probably would have been the number two. Fred VanVleet was pretty big for us in that series too, though. That was kind of his coming out party.
Yeah. Whoa. Excuse me. In Pride Month? What?
Well, for Christ's sakes, Robbie. I think Siakam. Just looking at the money that's thrown around in basketball, I guess it's a deserving contract. It's a fuck ton of money, but I guess the Pacers kind of had their backs against the wall, so had to get it done. Well, they got it done, Robbie.
Now, I got a snap from my friend Francis Zachary, who is the Oilers fan. I'd like to get his prediction live in the show, if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Oh, I wonder who he's going to pick.
Well, I know, but I just want to hear the energy. I think he's going to answer. Can you hear the phone?
Yeah.
Loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Pick up, Francis. Don't do this to me.
Come on, Francis, you fuck.
Damn it, he's not going to answer. It's going to go to
fuck, Francis.
He might be locked in.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying.
Well, he's enjoying his steak, salmon, Diet Coke, and Captain Diet Coke. He said the left will never understand. Game 7.
There we go. There we go.
So, well, Zachary, I think everything you pointed out was correct. I mean, Miles Turner isn't a number 2. I don't know if you mentioned that part, but Pascal Siakam has history of being a really good number 2. Halliburton, he's got to do more to be that number 1. I mean, before the in-season tournament, you came onto the record to saying that he was and is a superstar. But after the in-season tournament, he really didn't perform like
he fell off a little bit, yeah.
So he's got to find his way back into that superstar tier because that's what the Pacers are going to need. Again, they got lucky with the injuries to the New York Knicks, but they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Sunday have it done since they had Paul George, Lance Stevenson, Miles Turner was on the team, David West, Jeff Teague. So it's like, okay, this is what it's like. Now, how do we move on? And no one better than Rick Carlisle to coach these young kids. I'm glad they never quit on Rick Carlisle because he is a very good NBA head coach.
Well, Robbie, I'm glad you just brought up NBA head coaches because I do agree with what you said, but I think it's time to move on to the news that I think we've had anticipated coming out for a while now, Robbie, but it is finally in paper, set in stone, inked. And that is LeBron James podcast co-host, JJ Redick, joining the Lakers as the new head coach for, I believe, the next 4 years. Was it 4 years? I think it was 4 years.
4 years. Oh, Francis is calling me. Shall we get the prediction?
Get another.
Here we go. Francis, I just want you to know you are live in the Sports Cave as we speak, sir.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Give us everything that you got as an Oilers fan heading into this Game 7. Give us everything.
I'm nervous, very excited. I think Connor McDavid is just going to absolutely build his legacy. I think the speed of the Edmonton Oilers are getting to the Florida Panthers. They're getting worn down. Gustav Forsling looks very average right now. Aaron Ekblad looks very average right now. The only good defenseman going for Florida right now looks like Nikola. And I forgot the other dude's name.
Zachary, who's the other dude you think he's referring to?
Is that Kulikov?
Yep.
Kulikov.
Yep.
Brandon Montour stinks. He's not even on the first power play unit anymore. He got taken over by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think the Oilers have a good chance if they score first, and that's it.
Now, if they do win, are you going to be going shirtless?
Am I going shirtless?
Yes.
I don't think so, but I think I will get an Oilers tattoo.
Okay, and if the Oilers do win, will the left be upset or very happy?
They'll probably be happy considering that the Cup's leaving their town and there's no parade.
Fair point, Francis. Thank you for your 90 seconds of fame here in the Sports Cave, and I hope the Oilers win. All the smack talk you've talked about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm praying for you.
Well, they stink, but thank you for
Fuck you, Francis. Roll the Oilers, go.
Zach said, "F you, Francis," but go Oilers, go.
Go Oilers, there you go.
All right, good luck, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
See you, buddy.
That is the great Francis Dingers in slow pitch softball. I think shirtless and an Oilers tattoo is quite. I think you're right. Car lover.
Why not do both, Francis?
All right, back into the NBA discussion. So you alluded to it, I believe, of Mr. JJ Redick.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Zach, I'll let you lead off at this.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really have too much to say because I think this is something that we all, especially once Dan Hurley decided to go back to Connecticut and made that announcement, I think that this could have been announced an hour afterwards. I think we all kind of saw this going in this direction. I guess maybe like the only guy with the firing of Monty Williams, maybe they would have interviewed him because, you know, he's got a bit of a resume as a head coach. But like I said, I think this decision was made a long time ago. I know I'm a LeBron guy. I know you're not a LeBron guy, but this one is a little bit fishy to me, Robbie. I'm going to be honest with you. As a co-host of a podcast with the star player on the team, like, there's got to be some sort of insider shit going on there.
Yeah.
At first-time head coach, there's definitely guys that had, way more experience. There's definitely better options out there.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. If I had to guess, Robbie, I'm going to assume it's not going to go great.
We'll see. Here's JJ Redick. Just a quick something light from his press conference today.
However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a fuck. Like, honestly, I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I fucking care about.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of really enjoyed that right there.
I'm going to tell you what. JJ Redick is one of the best basketball minds. And his podcast was fantastic prior to the one he did with LeBron, which, by the way, he has come out and said the podcasting journey is now done with. He's going to focus on coaching unless something changes. But he has got a big task to handle, Zach, because this isn't OKC. This isn't Brooklyn. This isn't Toronto. This is arguably the franchise in the NBA. This is the Yankees of the NBA. This is the Cowboys of the NBA. This is the Leafs of the NBA, the Canadians of the NBA. This is the Lakers. This is the Mecca. And this is excruciating pressure going to be put on JJ Redick. And how could he control these guys? I mean, I get you're friends with LeBron James, but you don't have to challenge LeBron. LeBron's already going to be like challenged, but are you going to be there to tell him you need to play defense? This is something that you've been lacking since you won the championship. And if you want to catch up to Jordan, if you want to get 6, hell, if you want to get 5 to get to Kobe, you got to challenge yourself this year more than ever. But Zach, one thing's for certain. Adrian Wojnarowski was right over Shams because the Lakers, this was their second option. Number one option was Dan Hurley. And the second that Dan Hurley rejected it, JJ Redick came in and swiped it. And you know what, Zach? I like JJ Redick. I'm not going to be like Stephen A. and say that they should have hired a black head coach and try to do this whole minority crap. I'm going to sit here and say, you got to give JJ Redick a chance. Very smart basketball guy, has been through it all. And I think he can get the best out of these players. I do.
Well, we will have next season to see how it works out, and hopefully they'll give him more than a year because it seems like a common theme here with first-time head coaches with new teams. Not first-time head coach, but first-year head coach with new teams, I should say.
Yeah, I've been through that multiple times. I know what it's like.
Robbie, we have one more thing to discuss, though.
We have one more after that. Oh, Zachary, I don't know if this is Leafs latest. Okay, never mind. It's only 2,000 followers. I got a little nervous. I thought they were talking about Joseph Woll agreeing to a 3-year contract extension. I was like, oh no.
I think I did see something like that too today, actually.
I think it's fake news.
But Scottie Barnes, Robbie, getting fucking paid.
This is all you,
Raptors.
This is all you here.
I mean, 5 years, $270 million. To me, it's just so much fucking money to pay these guys. But that's what
that is. A little over. I think it's $55 million a year.
It's just under that. It's like because $55 million a year would be $275. But I mean, still, Robbie, we're talking so much money. But what were the Raptors supposed to do? I mean, this guy's our cornerstone. He's the guy we're going to build around. Is he worth that much money? Honestly, right now, probably not. Could he be worth that
more money in your opinion? Pascal Siakam or Scottie Barnes?
Scottie Barnes is worth more money than Pascal Siakam.
Oh wow, that was very confident.
Yeah, but I mean, still, $270 million, a lot of fucking money for someone that I don't necessarily think has proven himself. We saw that down year in his second year. Obviously, he had a pretty big rebound year last year, played great. But he's going to have to really step his performance up again and again and again if he wants to live up to this contract.
Agreed.
And I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm not expecting much of these Raptors. Literally over the next 5 years, I expect pretty much nothing from them. So, I mean, get as skilled, as honed as possible. Do your best to build around them via draft picks and via this and via that. Maybe some trades. Maybe you get lucky with some free agency signings. My dog is going buck wild upstairs right now.
I hear Toby. I hear him.
And we'll just have to wait and see what happens, Robbie. I'm not against the signing at all. I just think that now there's some more added pressure on Mr. Scottie Barnes to really live up to this paycheck.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And one thing you do know, it's very hard to get that second superstar in Toronto.
Yes. Oh my God. And when you do get him, he usually lasts for a year, and we win a championship, and then he'll never come back.
Must be nice. I'd take that any day of the week.
But you said we have one more thing to discuss for NBA. What was this, Robert?
No, we have a couple more because we haven't gone through everything. I don't know. We've listed the Cleveland Cavaliers' new hire.
Oh, we have not. That was not in the notes.
Oh, that's on me. The Cleveland Cavaliers, after firing JB Bickerstaff, Zachary, have found their new head coach. It is former Spurs assistant, former Warriors assistant, former Brooklyn Nets head coach Kenny Atkinson is going to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right, you take the floor on this one, Robbie, because this one I don't really have too much knowledge on this one.
I have, Zachary, tremendous respect for Kenny Atkinson, and once this belch comes out, I'll give you the reason why. Oh, that was a caught in between of a belch and a puke, but we prevailed with the belch.
Wow.
Zach, when he took the Brooklyn Nets head coaching job after they finalized Lionel Hollins, this was during the years where the Nets didn't have the rights to their own first-round pick because they belonged to, Zachary, who did they belong to?
The Brooklyn Nets did have their first-round pick in what year?
2015 to like 2018.
Is it the Celtics?
It is the Celtics.
Then
so
they got Tatum and Brown?
Would you shut the hell up?
I just want to make sure that was the picture you're talking about.
No, shut up. Son of a bitch. Now, a lot of people across the league were telling him, don't take that job. It is the worst job, arguably, in NBA history. And they weren't wrong because the Nets had to work with what they had with their late first-round picks. And those late first-round picks turned into Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, and they traded Brook Lopez to bring in D'Angelo Russell. And he got this team a couple years in to buy into what he was trying to sell them. And they made it to the playoffs. And believe it or not, Zach, I know it's like, oh, they made it. But Zach, that is one of the worst teams constructed on roster in NBA history to make the playoffs. And they did it. And they fought with Philly. They fought with them for as long as they could. I mean, think of all the rejects that are on that team. D'Lo started getting rejected. He was viewed as an outcast. Damari Carroll. Do you remember Damari Carroll, Zachary? You should.
Oh, yes.
Very good in Atlanta. Terrible in Toronto. Did well in Brooklyn. Joe Harris was on his way out the door and out of the league. Turns in one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Who's another one? Spencer Dinwiddie. On his way out with the Pistons. revitalizes himself in Brooklyn, got some big money from the Wizards, and is working on getting that respect that he wants. Or maybe we see Spencer Dinwiddie go to Cleveland. Who knows? But one thing's for sure. He's reunited with Jared Allen. He's reunited with Karis LeVert over there in Cleveland. And if he can have both Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland or one of the other, Zachary, I think the Cavs could take that next step under Kenny Atkinson. I think he is a well-respected head coach outside of Kyrie and Kevin. Well, not Kevin Durant. I'm not going to include Kevin Durant. He did play outside of Kyrie Irving because he didn't like being coach and want to do things his way or the highway. I think the Cavs nailed the replacement with Kenny Atkinson.
Well, we have a good hire, according to our good pal Robert here, folks.
Now we have one more NBA coach to acknowledge here. Acknowledge me. I just got to make sure I get his name correctly, because I probably will get it wrong. Dead air. All right, here it is. The Minnesota Timberwolves have agreed to a contract extension with Chris Finch for 4 years that will lock him up until 2027, 2028. Zach, I don't know what kind of a difference it makes, but when that collision happened on the sideline and they got his knee and he suffered a torn meniscus, I don't know how much it plays, but he was not on the sidelines for the Western Conference Finals. He was sitting behind the bench because of the knee injury. But Zach, no one and their mother had the Timberwolves going to the Western Conference Finals this year. No one.
I mean, they had an exceptional season, but I do agree. I don't think people saw this run happening from them.
No. So I think that it was so rightfully deserved, and we'll see what the Timberwolves do from this point forward. Now, I want to make sure before we move on, there's no other NBA news because we are a live show.
There is one thing, Robbie. NBA draft on Wednesday. We should.
You know what, Zachary?
I know we don't really have too much prepared for that because we both realized that the draft was happening 5 minutes before the show started.
Let me see if I can load up the queue here. The little
yeah, to see if we got. Because I know you have, was it Donovan Clingan? Was that his name there?
With the first pick in the 2024-2025 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Donovan Clingan, University of Connecticut. I'm just kidding. I don't think he's going to go number one. But yes, UConn, they are losing Donovan Clingan. They are losing Stephen Castle. They are losing Cam Spencer, who might not get drafted. He might get drafted. But outside of my UConn boys, there's only one other name that really stands out to me, and that's Devin Carter out of Providence University, who was arguably the best scorer in the Big East. But here's what's going to be struggling with the NBA draft from this point forward, Zachary. We heard about Wembanyama. We couldn't escape the noise about Victor Wembanyama. We couldn't escape the noise about Luka Doncic. But when we got all these guys coming over from Europe and we don't have a goddamn clue who they are, I mean, it really ruins the hype for the NBA draft, Zachary. Because the NBA draft was predominantly about the success and dominance from players in college basketball. I mean,
I also feel like this year, though, there's just not like that bona fide superstar that's coming out.
Agreed. I went on the Ringer here because I went on to ESPN's projection, Zachary, and Chris Harden, who works for ESPN, didn't have Donovan Clingan going in the first round. So I immediately said, all right, I'm not reading that dog crap list. This is who everybody thinks is going to be the number one pick for the most part. Out of France, Victor Wembanyama's buddy, who's 7'1", Zahir Richard.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him neither. And then there's another Frenchie that they predict going number 2.
Francois.
Alex Sarr. And then we finally get into some college basketball where they have the Houston Rockets drafting Reed Shepherd. And then we go into the G League with Matas Buzelis or whatever the hell his name is. Number 5, Cody Williams to the Pistons. And then we get a first UConn potential pick here to the Charlotte Hornets, Zachary. They are thinking Stephen Castle. And at number 7, they're predicting the Portland Trailblazers. Well, Zach, I told you. Do you remember what team I told you would be the best fit for Donovan Clingan?
I can't recall the team you said, to be honest with you.
The Memphis Grizzlies should do whatever they can to bring in Donovan Clingan to put him and Jaren Jackson as the 4 and 5s. That would be Block City.
That would definitely fur up the that would fur up the front court for him for sure.
For sure. And I'm trying to think of like some of the young teams. I'm not going to include Detroit because Detroit is just an absolute. Oh, we didn't put this in the notes. We didn't put this in the notes. In his first season as the head coach, Monty Williams fired.
Wasn't that last year or last week we did that?
No. That happened when we got off the air.
Uh-oh.
Monty Williams fired as the head coach for the Detroit Pistons, Zachary.
Yeah, now he's getting $20 million from the Suns for getting fired from them, and a good $65 million from the Pistons on his buyout there. So that's a good $85 million for Mr. Monty Williams there to coach 2 seasons of basketball.
I played the sound and went quiet because I didn't have the unmute on. So that's what I was trying to do earlier. Yeah, Zach, I think Monty Williams is. I don't think Phoenix should ever fired him. I thought it was a stupid fire. And the Pistons, I mean, they're a joke of an organization. I don't think this should affect his job status in the future because it is the Detroit Pistons and they are just an absolute mess.
Just terrible.
If I'm Cade Cunningham, I would say, I don't care about the money. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I mean, this is the Cleveland Browns.
Shit with these losers.
This is the Cleveland Browns of.
Fuck you.
I'm just talking in terms of like track record, bro. Like you guys are really good now. Could you take that back? I wasn't trying to.
I take it back then. Fuck you.
Excuse you. Fine.
All right.
They're not the Cleveland Browns. They're the Toronto Blue Jays.
No, that makes more sense because we're a bunch of pathetic fucking losers.
I can't wait to get into that later.
Well, we might not have time to get into it later.
Oh, we're gonna have time.
No. I'm gonna make sure we don't have time for it. All right, let's move it. Let's keep going. Yep. All right, we'll make sure we have time.
Yeah, move on. You run the show then. You dip nose. You run the show. Go ahead. Run it. Run it.
Monty Williams.
Zach, where does Zach Edey go?
Fired.
Zach Edey. Where does Zach Edey go?
Zach Edey's coming to the Toronto Raptors with our 17th overall pick. That's actually one thing I did want to point out before we left. I hope the Raptors make a play for him because we need some size. We need a center. I'm not a big fan of this fucking Yakub pussy Pirtle. Give me Zach Edey, the Canadian boy, to come play for the Canadian team.
Well, I think Kevin O'Connor is pretty stupid here because he has Zach Edey going to OKC. I don't see that happening.
Idiot. But
go ahead, run the show. This is your show. You keep going and move on. So go ahead, drive it.
Is that besides the Monty Williams? I think that might be it for our NBA talk, Robert.
Man, that's it for your hairline too.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
Come on, let's go.
All right, Patches O'Houlihan. I'm talking about that beard of yours over there. Moving on to the PGA Tour, Robbie.
One last thing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep.
Paul George, will he be a Clipper or not?
Ooh.
Because Brian Windhorst has come out and said that it looks like he might opt into his player option for a sign and trade if there's no extension agreed upon. So do you think he will be a Clipper or not?
I think he'll run it back with the Clippers.
Wow.
I saw Carl Levers.
Wow.
Carl Lever, we were boys up until then, man. We were buddies, me and you. And guess what? You just made my shit list.
No, you love him. You said you were going to get him laid.
Damn right I will. PGA, Robert. I mean, what else to say about Scottie Scheffler? That the fact that we might be seeing the greatest golfer working his way up. I mean, if he keeps going at this pace, we might be talking about a new GOAT in the golf game in the next 10, 20 years.
Oh, whoa. Stop.
Well, you know what? I guess if we are looking at the field of golfers now with the two leagues, I do probably take that back what I just said. But what he is doing is unprecedented, Robbie. 6th tournament of the season he's won already. It's not even fucking July. Earned over $27 million in prize money. Robbie, his caddy has made more money than Justin Thomas has this year.
Then I'll make it my entire lifetime.
I mean, excuse me. That is the season he is putting on right now is historic, Robbie. It is historic. You know he's leading the FedEx Cup points right now by more combined points than number 2 and 3. If you combine their points up 2 and 3, he would still be winning. which I think is McIlroy and Schauffele.
Yeah, no, he is. I mean, we knew how great this guy was, but I don't think we ever expected to see him win on this rapid pace that he's been winning at. I mean, I had a friend text me, "Yo, Robbie, who do you think's going to win this weekend for the Travelers?" Scottie Scheffler. Scottie Scheffler.
Like
I don't care. I don't care if Tom Kim is leading. I don't care if Cam Young shot a 59 on Saturday. Scottie Scheffler.
Very impressive.
Very.
Another thing too, like I feel like you can't have this golf course after the U.S. Open.
Why?
Because you go from one of the hardest courses to what seems like one of the easiest courses for these guys.
Do you like seeing people shoot 20 under or 3 under?
3 under. I'd much rather see a hard course we have to battle through it.
You're gay.
No, that's more competitive. It's more entertaining. It really fucking separates the boys from the men.
Nope, you're gay.
I'll tell you who's fucking gay. Those 5 fucking protesters that come out to stop the oil with their little fucking smoke grenades. The guys, first of all, and then the one lady screaming out vote for Biden afterwards, from what I heard. Do you think that that's going to help Biden's case if that's really what your message was? Stop the oil, vote for Biden. That is going to, even if I had, I'm not even from America and I would never vote for Biden, but even if I had any sort of inclination to vote for him, after watching that video, it is gone. The chances are done that that's ever going to happen.
Well, we just got really political here. I think they're chanting asshole in this part here.
Thankfully, no damage was caused to the green besides a little bit of white and red powder from whatever fucking smoke grenades or something these guys had.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ. That fucking... Look at this bald-headed chick. That girl looks exactly like a chick that would be doing something like that, too.
I just love how Scottie Scheffler wasn't intimidated at police presence. That
Which
really...
you see cops storming the field for him. He probably said, "Oh God, what did I do now?"
Yeah. Well, Zachary, there was some sort of damage because they did have to move the cup from its location that it was at. So there was some minor damage done. But Zach, these liberal queer bags in the state of Connecticut that do stupid crap like this nearly on a consistent basis
fucking
with
queers.
Dumb protest. We don't have much here, dude. That is what we have right there. That is all we have. We have the Travelers in terms of Major League NHL team. We don't have an MLB team. We don't have an NBA team. We have UConn and the Travelers. And the one time where we are focusing on golf, heading into a possible playoff hole, you have these losers. Do you know what they were protesting, Zachary, of all things? Do you know what they were protesting?
Was it oil?
Oil rigs and closing them all down for electricity. Get your... You want to go do that? Go to New York City. Go in front of the new major news outlets. Don't ruin a sport that sells out because it's all we got, Zach. We don't have nothing else here, dude.
Well, it's also like, what does the golf world have to do with that? You know,
I mean, private jets, I guess. I don't know, but it's
but that's every sport. That's fucking go to Wall Street then and start taking down the CEOs that have all the fucking private jets that are flying in there. You know what? Actually, I probably shouldn't say that. They have.
Oh, well, this is very informative. I didn't know this.
5 from New York makes sense.
You're right, car lover. You're right. Yeah, they are liberal queers, and we need to do and not for nothing too. This is a bad weekend for the Travelers in terms of safety. God forbid one of those smoke grenades like got into these players' eyes. Number one. Number two, on Saturday, 2 people were struck by lightning. The Travelers Championship.
What? What the fuck? What do you mean they were struck by lightning? Are you serious? That's terrible.
You're a terrible person.
Holy
You're
shit.
a terrible person.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, dude. I'm lucky I didn't get struck by lightning. That's why I sent you that post of this is the last way you know me. It's the last way you know me. I mean, we had very bad thunderstorms and people didn't go back to a safe location. They got struck by lightning. 2 of them.
I mean, one's pretty impressive. 2 of them is just like that's something you just don't see every day, Robbie. Well, hopefully they are A-okay.
Yeah, the committee's got to do a better job of protection. And
That's fucking hysterical, though. My God, that was a true, genuine reaction right there for me.
oh my God, you're a psychopath, Zachary. Scottie Scheffler, going back to him, 6 out of 10 wins, 6 wins out of his last 10 tournaments, and one of them which he got arrested in prior to. The last time I can recall a golfer doing this well in one single season, Zachary, do you know who I'm thinking of?
Tiger Woods?
Not outside of Tiger Woods. Outside of Tiger Woods.
Jason Day.
No.
He had that one really good year.
I know, but that's not who I'm thinking of.
Who are you thinking of?
Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
Jordan Spieth looked like he was become the next best golfer, and then after a wrist injury, it hasn't been nearly the same where this guy was consistently winning on a consistent basis. But like you said, Scottie Scheffler's caddy is doing better than most people. You brought up Justin Thomas. Well, here's the thing right here. Scottie Scheffler's caddy, Ted Scott, has won $2.63 million this year compared to Jordan Spieth's $2.5 million.
Oh, sorry. It was Jordan Spieth, not Justin Thomas. My apologies.
Scottie Scheffler has made $27,696,858 by playing golf this year, and this is all before his endorsements.
I mean, just had a kid. And I will say this, it was kind of cool. I didn't know that Scottie Scheffler and Tom Kim were best buddies.
Me neither, but I love Tom Kim.
That guy, first of all.
Watch the documentary. Were you not just an instant fan of Tom Kim?
No homo. That man is adorable, is what he is.
No Diddy?
No Diddy. That's an adorable man right there. And I think we are looking at a guy that's going to be winning tens of PGA Tour events in his career. I mean, this guy's a young fucking stud golfer, Mr. Tom Kim, and we are not seeing the last of him on the leaderboard. That's for goddamn sure. Now,
Zachary, the most wins in a single season on the PGA Tour since 1983.
9.
Do you know 9, and it was accomplished by 2 players. Do you know who they are?
Tiger Woods.
And?
Jack Nicklaus.
No.
Fuck. Phil Mickelson.
No.
Fuck.
I said 1983.
Oh, God. I'm not too sure. Arnold Palmer. No, he's
the other black guy that played with Tiger Woods.
There was another black guy?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm not too sure.
Vijay Singh.
He's an Indian, man. He's not a black guy.
I mean, I think he's
brown. What's the difference, man? If you would have said a brown guy, I would have guessed that too. I also didn't know Vijay Singh had there's nothing wrong with saying a brown guy. Vijay Singh is an Indian guy. This is literally just a true fact. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
I, Robbie Clark, have no correlation with Zachary saying it is a solo layoff from this point forward.
I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with what I just said there. I just said if you would have said a brown guy instead of a black guy, I would have probably been able to connect the dots. Also, didn't know Vijay Singh had a 9-win season. That is impressive.
Zachary, he's black as hell.
I know, but Robbie, okay, never mind. Why don't we just move on to MLB before I get us off this air?
I gotta see if there's.
He's Fijian. Well, I guess I just thought Vijay Singh. I just assumed an Indian guy.
So who's the reason here?
Oh, Robbie, do you have anything else you'd like to say on the PGA?
I tried looking up Vijay Singh on Twitter. I'm showing
vagina singing.
No, look at this.
My very good friend Vijay, he's so happy. Get that off the screen. That's disgusting. I mean, we have a little bit of MLB to talk about before we let you guys go for this Game 7.
The internet is undefeated.
I think we got to start off, Robbie, just because.
This is Vijay Singh, Zach. This is.
Okay, I guess he is. He's quite black, actually. He definitely has a darker skin complexion than I once remember. But he does have a tint of brown to him as well, too. I think we're both right on this one here. Speaking of brown guys, Robbie, Jay's top hitting prospect, Orelvis Martinez, is suspended 80 games for testing positive for clomiphene, a banned fertility drug that alters testosterone levels. I actually don't think he's a brown guy. I think he's like a Dominican fella, but they got a pretty brown tint to him. So
Oh my
I think
God,
it
I'm
kind of
crying.
works.
Oh. It's a hell of a segue there, Zach. You talk about this because it's just your Toronto Blue Jays. So go
Well,
ahead.
honestly, I never heard about this guy before, but he is our top hitting prospect from what I've heard about. I love the name Orelvis. That's just a really nice ring to it. But
How about
80 game suspension, banned drug. I mean, is there anything more Toronto Blue Jays than what's happening right here? I mean, this season is just going to shit. If you would have asked me last week, Rob, we were projecting in the right trajectory. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And then now we have a critical back-to-back series. We go Red Sox, Guardians, or we went Guardians, Red Sox, Guardians, Red Sox, and now we're at the Red Sox again. And, I mean, it started off well. We've now lost, I believe, 6 in a row.
Mhm.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we got swept in this one too, Robbie. And at this point, I think get rid of the GM, get rid of the coach. You got to clean house at this point. If you're not going to trade Vlad and Bo, if that's off the table, then Ross Atkins, get the fuck out of here. John Schneider, get the fuck out of here. It's time for a change in Toronto, Robbie. It is time for a change in Toronto. You ever heard about this guy? Orelvis Martinez?
No.
Nope. Well, Orelvis, we will be seeing you next year, sir.
Maybe. Now, I'm going to list you a bunch of players because I think it's safe to say the Blue Jays need to sell. They've now lost 6 games in a row, and it's actually gotten worse since Alek Manaea was reported to be out for the rest of the season with surgery for his elbow there. 2 things are going to happen. 1, you're going to sell. 2, Johnny's got to piss his pants because he's a moron.
Yeah, I did see that too. He's probably going to urinate on live again. But that's also kind of what gave him the start of his notoriety. So maybe that just makes him a little bit bigger.
So, Zach, maybe you should pee on stream if the Leafs don't make it out of the first round next year.
I'm not going to say that at all.
You should. We're trying to get famous here. I mean, we keep talking about we're taking this to the moon. We're stuck in freaking Cuba.
Unfortunately, I guess I don't want it that much to be peeing on live.
You're not a real man.
Would you pee on live? No, you pee on live then if the Leafs don't make the playoffs. So if the Leafs lose in the first round next year.
Oh, I don't give a shit about the Leafs like you do.
Fucking goddamn cunt.
No, if we had done this a couple of years ago with the Nets, then I probably would have done it because I felt so confident back then. So I mean, I guess I have no reason.
Well, you said you were going to give me some names. So what are these names, sir?
Okay, you tell me if they're going to stay, if they're going to go. Let's get the first big name off the list. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Will he be a Blue Jay at the trade deadline, or will he be a new player?
He's gonna stay, I bet, because I mean, what kind of fucking package are you gonna get for him?
Kevin Gausman.
I would assume he's gonna stay because he is the ace.
Okay. Bo Bichette.
I think a change has to be done, Robbie. I'm saying gone.
George Springer.
Gone.
Davis Schneider.
Staying.
Danny Jansen.
Staying.
Alejandro Kirk.
Staying.
Jose Barrios.
Staying. I don't think the rotation I think is going to stay the same.
So you think you're only going to keep you think the only person leaving is Bo Bichette? Are you nuts?
If they don't trade, I said Bo and Springer, but if they don't get rid of this GM, that's exactly what I think is going to happen, Robbie. There will be nothing done if this Ross Atkins is still our guy trade deadline, which he will be. He's not going anywhere now.
Your problem with your Blue Jays is they were so uptight about thinking that they were going to get Shohei Ohtani that the second they lost out, they felt like they lost, and it's deflected into your season this year.
Well, we're a fucking bunch of pathetic losers, and they pissed me off. Robbie, can we bring up another team that's kind of been a little bit of losers over the last little stretch, Robbie?
Mm-hmm.
And that's your New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get dealt with the news, or you get dealt with the news. Giancarlo Stanton, looking to miss some time here, Robbie. Heads to the IL with a hamstring injury. Obviously, there's going to be no worries for you. But what's going on here? Because you guys were very dominant, and it just seems like over the last little bit, it's been a bit. Can you stop doing that? For fuck's sakes.
Zachary, I'm not worried whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I'm happy this is happening. I'm gonna tell you why.
Oh wow, that's okay. You're just happy your man on your team's injured. That's a good fan you are.
No, I'm just talking about the losing. Like Stanton, that is a big loss this year because he was arguably. I mean, it's hard to pick. I mean, Judge, Soto, and Stanton with runners in scoring position have been locked in. And that's what you expect out of those three guys when Stanton is making all that money. Okay. So, I mean, it sucks. And normally this is where we'll be like, we'll call up Dominguez because Stanton's hurt. Well, Dominguez is on the IL himself. He's hurt. So, I mean, they're stuck with an injury bug right now. They don't have Dominguez because he's hurt. Stanton just got hurt. Rizzo is hurt. It's not going well right now in the Bronx with the winning and losing. But one thing that is going well still is Aaron Judge, who the numbers that he has right now is what some players in baseball finish the season off with. He's batting over 300 with 27 home runs, over 60 RBIs. I mean, he is balling out. Yeah, they lost their series to the Orioles. They lost their series to the Red Sox, and they just lost to the Braves. I'm glad this is all happening now because what have I seen that this New York Yankees team needs to improve on? Catching. I love Jose Trevino. But with the analytics that we have now to dictate how fast you throw a ball as a player, 72 miles per hour behind the plate is not going to cut it. Now, Jose Trevino is the best in baseball. Excuse me. In terms of blocking.
I was going to say, you better. Fighting. Okay.
But if you can't throw the runner out
there.
Yeah, there was a belch. If you can't throw the runner out in second and third base, then it's a problem. And it showed when the Red Sox had 9 stolen bases on him. Not good. So that's our first problem. Number 2, defense on the right side of the infield. Now, Ben Rice, this young guy, is up. He's done well so far. I don't know how much left Anthony Rizzo has in the tank, but you already know my thing with Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres is not what he was supposed to be, and I'm ready to move on. I said it last week. Number 3, the Yankees need more speed on the base paths. You know, Volpe is their true stolen base guy. John Birdie, when he plays, could steal bases. Oswaldo, Judge. But we need someone at the bottom of the lineup to have that same effective speed like Anthony Volpe has. So whether it's at second base, third base, first base, they got to find a way. And Zach, I'm going to go on the record and saying this right now. I wouldn't be surprised at the trade deadline if the Yankees dish off DJ LeMahieu and whatever else to bring in Manny Machado from the San Diego Padres. Machado doesn't look like he wants anything to do with the Padres right now. The Padres owner did pass away before the season started, so they're very low on monies. We already know because they had to take a loan out to pay players. They got to dish off salary. LeMahieu doesn't have as many years left as like Machado does. Yankees might make a push for Manny Machado.
Also, we have a little bit of Padres breaking news, Robbie.
What? Really?
Fernando Tatis Jr. on the IL.
Oh, no, wait. Share this tab instead. My favorites. This is going to take a while just to get this whole sound up, which isn't going to load up because my favorites isn't loading up. But what I wanted to do, Zachary, was this because it did load up.
They said the timetable for return for a stress reaction in his leg could be as early July or possibly after the All-Star break. So Tatis will be he'll be on the sidelines here for a little bit, Robert.
Padres fans the last 2 years.
No!
God, no!
No!
But yeah, Robbie, that's something we got to throw in there. We have 2 more pitchers we got to talk about here, Robbie, and then we will be letting these lovely folks go.
LeBron, what are your thoughts on JJ Redick being your head coach?
Of course.
One
One of these had to come in this episode. Now, this pitcher out of the Philadelphia Phillies, Robbie, I'm really not too sure who they are. And by the way, speaking of the Phillies, they just turned a 135 triple play against the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, I got it. Do you know who I am?
Before
I got
you bring it up, Robbie, Phillies and pitcher Christopher Sanchez agreed to a 4-year, $22.5 million extension.
I don't even know who that is.
Me neither, but it was part of the news.
Broke his bat, loops it right back to the mound. Harper will get the double play, and now they'll throw it to third for a triple play.
Oh, I mean, that's just terrible by Detroit, though. What the fuck's wrong with these guys?
I can remember, Zach, when Gio Urshela was the third baseman for the Yankees. Ground ball to him, tag third, throw to second, throw to first. That's a triple play. That is just like handed to you. That's like, here you go.
Yeah. I got excited when I saw that's not even exciting to watch. That's bullshit.
No, it's pretty gay.
But it is super gay. Robbie, one more pitcher to talk about here. Obviously a household name, Mr. Max Two-Eye Color Scherzer makes a season debut for the Texas Rangers, retires 15 out of 16 batters through 5 innings. I'm assuming this is going to be a big boost for this Texas Rangers team, who I don't think has performed as well as we had anticipated them to do this year, Robbie.
Agreed.
But what do you think, Robbie? Do you think we fucking slam one more beer and we go watch some Game 7?
I got a lot of it left, but I mean, if we're slamming this beer before Game 7, there's going to be a lot of dead air.
3. I'm gonna slam mine in about 2 seconds. It's pretty full beer, too. 3, 2, 1, Game 7, baby. Ah! I don't have any way to show that I've done mine, but I can't.
There's a lot of foam left in mine.
I got a little bit in there. It's like a little tiny bit of foam, but I'm not going to pour it out. But Robbie, I think it's Game 7, Stanley Cup.
Oh, that foam did taste good. All right, folks, it's Game 7 time. It's time for me to edit before this Game 7 happens. And ladies and gentlemen, when we come back live next Monday, the NBA draft will be concluded. We will see where our UConn boys go. We will see if Canada is on top or if America is on top. We'll see what else goes on in baseball, because it feels like every time we're talking about baseball, someone is getting hurt. We'll see what's going on in the NFL. It's 3 a.m. for Carl Lover. It's 7:57 p.m. for us here on the East Coast. Game 7, Oilers and Panthers in Florida. We have the Oilers. For my friend Francis, I'm praying for you, buddy. Go Oilers, go. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, your co-host Robbie, saying it off to my co-host Zach Roden to take us on out.
That is right, folks. This was another Monday night edition. This one with a little bit of special kick to it, too, as we've mentioned many times. It is Game 7. The time has come now, folks. Go, Oilers, go, and stay sexy. Sports Cave.